It is our 21-day self-care as a practice adventure. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and this is a pop-up live stream. And we are talking about days 5, 6, and 7 of our adventure. And that is about time and packing your quest pack. Now, if you're new here, if you're stumbling upon this video, welcome in. We have been bringing classes just like this one online since 2016 here at the Sisters Enchanted, and we've had tens of thousands of people come through our offers and our programs. So you're in the right place if you're looking to enchant your everyday and feel like the magical person you were born to be and sprinkle some witchery and goodness and intuition into your everyday. I see some people coming on. Hello, Lisa, in the comments. And feel free to say hi, good morning, good afternoon on this Sunday, wherever you are in the world. As I said, I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted. And I did not warn anybody that I was going live. So if you're finding this, I'm glad you found it. Welcome. And thank you for being here. So we are in the middle of our 21-day magical self-care practice adventure. We're calling it an adventure. It's sort of a challenge, sort of an invitation, sort of an adventure. We are giving away random giveaway prizes over the next few weeks. We gave away 2 this past week. So if you are participating, be sure to tag us on Instagram, or you can join us over in our Facebook group. It's called Expedition to Soul. And we're giving away prizes to random participants. So you want to participate and show us you're participating. And we're just picking people to win some prizes. Now, what this is all about, if you're not registered, you can find the link. We have a really awesome 55-page, it's a guide. I had mine printed out, but you can just print it or look at it. You don't have to print it. And there are prompts for 21 days. And it's all about inviting self-care into your life. I see I've got Sarah Milne here in the comments. Sarah's the program director here at the Sisters Enchanted. So thank you, Sarah. You did not know I was coming on. I appreciate you catching this and being here in the comments. But this first 7 days, we talked about sort of the barriers, blocks, all the things that you might run into when it comes to bringing some self-care into your life. So why are we talking about self-care to begin with? People who come to us at the Sisters Enchanted, we teach a lot of tarot, intuition. We teach about everyday magic. We teach about all sorts of like the elements and connecting with the elements and the wheel of the year and all of these different things, working with the moon and your own energy. Really all of this stuff to bring magic to your everyday, to bring little bits and baubles of magic and enchantment to the life that you're living right now, and to live with intention, lead with intuition. And self-care is really one of the things, making time for self-care, that's at the foundation of everything you want to create. So if you're a person who thinks like, all right, in 5 years from now, I'd love to live this life, or I really just want to understand moon cycles and how to create a rhythm in my life, or I love to read tarot. So often we start doing these things for a purpose, and then we might feel like it's not working for us, or we just don't get it. And much of that comes to not having the space to really understand what it is we're doing to begin with and why, and comes down to time for self-care, which is why we have this amazing guide for you. Again, it's 55 pages, so register for it. It's totally free. But this week we talk about the barriers, sort of the boundaries we might need to set around creating self-care for ourselves. And what I have been encouraging folks to do is look at your whole life as a container for self-care. Now, self-care does not have to be, as I said in an email last week, Oreos and bubble baths and affirmations. Like that can be self-care, but self-care should also just be living a life that supports you, that makes it so that you feel cared for and nourished and supported. And that really has to come from within. And then like number one thing that I see from people, especially like all the women in our community, is time, and feeling like they have no time and they have so much to do. Now, I'm going to give you some time strategies today, but I want to share a little bit of my story with you so you know you're not alone, and know that it's not impossible, but also understand that it's an ongoing practice. And Pam, I see you in the comments. Pam, sending you lots of love and hope you're feeling well on this day. Oh, I just kicked my mic. I'm sorry. Pam's one of our Holistic Witchery community members, and just sending you hugs, Pam. All right. So So a little bit of my story for you so that you can see you're not alone and that it is it's an ongoing thing, right? This relationship with time. So I'm a person who is a recovering overachiever. Will call myself. Do lots of things. Always worked like three jobs, and was going to grad school while working a job and student teaching. I have my master's in education. All these things. I get married, right? And I get pregnant with my first child at 7 months pregnant. I worked for a small business, and the office I worked in was closing. I had like 2 days notice that I was the director of this office for an education company, and the office was closing. So at 7 months pregnant, I found myself unemployed or really self-employed. So I had the choice to be unemployed, get a job, or chase down self-employment. And I looked at myself in the mirror at 7 months pregnant and thought, well, I'm not going to go work in a public school. I am a certified teacher, but that was not what I wanted to do. And I'm certainly not going to go get a job right now. So self-employed it is. And I found myself at 7 months pregnant, self-employed, had a baby, and went on to run that business that I had during that time, working part time. And my husband and I made just enough money to live. We didn't have lots of extra money. We didn't have a savings account, nothing like that. But we could go grocery shopping and live every day, and that was fine. We were okay. And then I had this feeling, right, that I wanted to do something different. And in came the Sisters Enchanted. So when my daughter was almost 2 years old, I started the Sisters Enchanted with my sister Anna. Now I am the official founder, owner, operator of the Sisters Enchanted. So I got this off the ground and shortly found myself pregnant with my second kid and running my first business. So I'm telling you this story, right? Telling you this story because I want you to know that you are not alone and that there is nothing special about people who get a lot of things done, except for the fact that we know how to focus on one thing. So as I'm telling this story here, I have a toddler, I'm running one business, pregnant, starting another business. And we did not have some magical trust fund to pull from, no nannies to help us out, nothing like that. Spinning all my wheels at all hours of the night. Now, this is where this story becomes not so pretty. I have my second kid, right? And I find myself just completely overwhelmed and struggling. And this goes on for a few years, up and down, up and down, up and down. Now my second kid is 4, my oldest is 7. And I still find myself like, where do I need to reset my boundaries? Where is it that I need to get more help and more support? Now, my story has changed a lot. I was able to close that first business. Now we have 7 people who work here around the sphere of the Sisters Enchanted, and we've grown leaps and bounds. And my time looks way different now than it did before. And that's because I learned to focus. I learned to focus. So when you're looking at your time, the thing that I hear so often from people is they just don't have time. They have people to care for, they have pets to care for, they have jobs, they're working 2 jobs. I have been there. I have been there. It's overwhelming. I have been the one on the floor crying, right? I've been the one begging for anybody, anywhere to help me. Somebody pick me up off the ground. I have been there. And it's an ongoing practice of setting boundaries around yourself, around other people, around tasks. But the number one thing that's going to help you find time for yourself is to focus. And when we talk about magical practices in general, if you do like manifesting with the moon, or you're lighting a candle, or doing a release ceremony for something, or you're setting a crystal grid to bring abundance into your life, the more you can focus on one thing, the more impactful every single thing is going to be for you. So let's look at this time thing, and I'm going to give you some tips around how I manage time. Now, what my life looks like now, now that we have the Sisters Enchanted, I only operate this one business. My other one, I closed it a month before I had my second kid. So it's been well over 4 years now. But I do work about 30 to 35 hours a week here for the Sisters Enchanted. I also have my 2 kids at home. We do a like virtual homeschool sort of thing with them. And now I do have more help as I focused and focused and focused and focused. I have my mother. She works here. Anybody here who gets a prize in the mail or signs up for one of our programs, he gets a welcome package. My mom, she wraps and mails those. She's actually in the other room working on some stuff for our holistic witchery students to come right now. But she also helps with my kids. So as I have grown, I've been able to get more and more help, but it wasn't always easy. And how do we make this happen for ourselves? Well, the first thing you need to do is look at your calendar for a week ahead. So I do this actually, I do this like 3 times a week because my schedule is so jam packed and so busy that there's like 100 balls in the air, but at least once a week. Every Sunday, if you kind of start your week on Mondays, every Sunday, look at the week ahead and look at a calendar that has all of the hours of a day on it, not just a count like a wall calendar. You need all of the hours of a day. And then put in that calendar everything that must happen. So if there's a doctor's appointment, if you have a meeting, like things that they can't move, those go on the calendar right off the bat because you know those cannot move. They're scheduled in, you need to be there, put those on the calendar. From there, pick your one objective for the week. One objective for the week. Now, you might be like, well, how do I pick one objective for the week? I need to clean the house. I need to like do this thing. I need to do this thing. But pick one objective. Now, that doesn't mean just like clean the kitchen as your one objective, but that might be feeling like your house is decluttered, or it might be like, for me as a person who owns a business, I often had to choose between, am I going to have a business that pays our bills or am I going to have a clean house? I had to choose one objective, and for me it was to have a business that pays our bills, and the clean house came by the wayside. I got to tell you, I have now had help at home. I've had house help for a year in September. So this month for 1 year. And just now does my house feel like it's come out from underneath the chaos of building my own business for several years. So it takes time. But what's one objective? Like, what will you, the next Sunday, a week from now, at the end of the day, what will make you feel like you won the week? But only one thing. And if that is, maybe it's a really busy week with like, maybe you have kids and there's tons of school stuff and tons of games and meetings and teacher stuff or whatever. Maybe winning the week is just showing up and being present for all of those things. Maybe you have a really big job interview, and so that's where all of your focus is going. But the thing is that we try to do everything, and you cannot do everything. That, like, you just can't. Eventually you can have like this idea of having it all. Eventually you can have it all. But building up to having it all takes time. So wherever you are right now, focus on one win. What will it look like to win the week? And then just set your sights on that thing. From there, make a list of everything, all the little odds and ends that you feel like you still need to do, because really we all still need to live. Like, you still need to eat food, you still need to run errands, like whatever it is you need to do. Go through that list. Any other commitments, things maybe you're going to meet someone for lunch, or just things floating around in your mind. And then figure out what you can have somebody else do, how you can save time on it, or how you just delete it altogether. So when I do this, it's in my mind, delegate and delete. What can I have somebody else do and what can I delete? And this is where boundaries comes in too, because that's the really hard part, because we think we have to do everything. And like I said, I have been there. I have literally been on my kitchen floor with 2 little kids around me and then my laptop next to me in tears, wondering how I'm going to do it all. This is not a fake story. I have had puddles of tears on the floor with a toddler, a newborn, and the laptop, thinking, how on earth am I supposed to do all of this? And really, it comes down to boundaries, delegating, deleting. So finding the people in your life who, although they might tell you they can't do it or they don't do it right, they don't know how to do it, delegating. You just have to do this. Like, this is a team and you're part of the team. You have to do this. Setting boundaries with yourself to not go above and beyond when when you have all these other things you need to do, and holding that boundary for yourself, right? And then just deleting. And this is where it comes back to that one intention, that one focus, the one thing that's going to look like winning the week for you. Because if for you that one thing is just being present for all the kids stuff, or if you don't have kids and maybe you have like a big job interview, or you need to move your elderly parents, or you need to clean out the house, or whatever it is you need to do. If that's your one thing and that's your win, delete the other stuff that does not matter. That might be that you don't get your bathroom cleaned this week. It might be that you don't, I don't know, like whatever that the standard is that you hold for yourself, that you do all these things. It might be that that thing does not happen. And though you do that the next week, that can be the focus of your next week, because really we don't have the energy. We don't have this like unlimited, infinite energy that we can just do all of the things and not rest and do everything the way that we want to. We really have to like pare down our lives so that we're doing the thing that's going to move us forward to the place where we want to be. And then that's where self-care comes in, because this practice, the practice of setting up your schedule, delegating and deleting, and then focusing on what's one win for my week. What is it going to look like a week from now if I won this week? What do I have to do to make that happen? What does that look like? That is an act of self-care, because you're structuring your entire life around caring for yourself at that point and not trying to do all of the things. So you're structuring your entire life around caring for yourself. Once you've gone through this list of things you need to do and you've delegated or you've deleted, then go back to that calendar and schedule everything in that needs to happen. Everything that needs to happen, schedule it in. Now, the other thing that happens though is that we set these expectations that we're going to do all this, right? And then things happen and we don't do it. And that's where you constantly have to shift and evolve. So for me, for example, this is an example from my life right at this moment. I was doing this virtual exercise program that I absolutely love it. And I did it like a few months ago. I was like really doing it every day. But I had some health stuff like in the spring, and then my schedule changed. And it really became not possible for me to do these classes live, because they're all like an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. I have two little kids, and they're very intense children. And so a half an hour in, they're like all over me, and it's just more trouble than it's worth, right? And I can't do the hour and 15-minute exercise, though I love doing it. But in order to get all the things in the day that I need to get in, I also couldn't get up and exercise in the morning because I work in the morning now with the schedule change that I had. So I had to be really realistic with myself and say, this just isn't working anymore. As much as I love it, I could have two options. I could get mad at the world that I can't do this thing that I like to do, or just do something different, right? So I chose to do something different. So I canceled my subscription to it. And instead, now I do a 15-minute yoga video in the morning, like an intense one, and then I do a 15-minute one at night, because I can do 15 minutes in the morning and I can do 15 minutes at night. But getting in that full like hour long thing every day was not happening. So I had to look at my life and I had to say, instead of just saying, well, like I can't do it and being all down on myself, like no one's supporting me, it's not working. I just had to say, this doesn't fit with my container of life right now. Something else has to fit. So I got rid of it. And now I do something different, right? And I get that in there in a different way. But that's again structuring my whole life around self-care. I still need to care for my body. So how do I do that? I do that by finding another way to make it work in the time that I have, because time is your only finite resource. Once a minute has gone, you do not get it back. That's another part of the challenge here in the worksheets, if you have them, or in the printable, the guide, is rethinking your relationship with time. Because so often people look at their calendar or they look at a clock and they're like, oh, I only have 15 minutes. I'm just going to sit here and do nothing, right? But 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes is actually a very significant amount of time if you know what it is that you want to do with yourself, which is where we come back to that idea of focusing on one thing for the week. What would be one win for your week? And then when you find yourself at that time, fill it with the thing that's going to win the week for you. As a person, again, I have a very, very, very full life of things to do. And if I have 5 minutes, if I know what it is that I need to do like what my focus is, I can do something amazing in 5 minutes. Like I can write a whole, like a really great email or 3 pages and a guide to send to all y'all on the internet in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I can quickly organize a drawer that's been driving me crazy. Like 5 minutes is actually a very big chunk of time when you reconsider your relationship with time. We have this thing that like, if we don't have 3 hours, we don't have any time, but 5 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour is really, really powerful if you know what it is that you want to be doing, right? Like if you know what your win is, you know what your focus is, that's very powerful. And what this has to do with everything that we do here, we have a program, it's called Holistic Witchery. And in there, we go through this model of intention setting, working with your energy to integrate your intentions into your life, then doing shadow work, and then like getting your vision together of the future and working on your intuition all along the way to like do a gut check and understand, hear yourself, hear your higher self, your future self, your guides, whatever you want to hear in moving you forward. And what this has to do with all of that is understanding what it is that you want to be working on. And the more focused you are with your intention for your life, for your time, for what you want to create, the more impactful it's going to be, and the more results you're going to see, the more successful you're going to feel like you are. So it's the same with doing a tarot reading. The better you are at asking questions, the more focused you are with your questions and your intention, the clearer the answers are going to be. If you set a crystal grid, or you're like doing maybe you're setting intentions at the new moon or something, the clearer you are, the more you know what it is that you're doing, the more impactful it's going to be. And the same goes with your time. So I see so many posts from people who are like, like, I'm a single mom, or I have no one who helps me. Listen, we have single moms who work here at the Sisters Enchanted. We have formerly single moms who are like, my Anna was a single mom, and now she's married, and she's got a 10-month-old. We have two of us on the team have kids who are neurodiverse and are very intense. And to keep us on our toes. And we suffer mom guilt left and right, which is like emotionally draining as a result. We have one of the team members here whose husband sometimes is gone at work for 7 days straight because of the job that he works and just the environment that we're in right now. Like, you are not alone when it comes to time and feeling like there is none, and like you have no support. That is a common theme. That is a very common theme, that so many of us feel like we have no support. And at the end of the day, no one's going to walk up to you with a silver platter full of support. No one's going to do it. No one. Not your best friends, not anybody. People want to help you, like they want to support you, your friends, your family, but no one's just going to give it to you. It's going to start from within you. And one of the ways to do that is to reclaim your time and design your entire life to feel like a container of support for yourself and like a container of self-care for yourself. So look at your calendar for the week ahead. And if it feels like there is no space in there for you to care for yourself, or it's full of stuff that you don't even want to be doing, and you have no idea how you got yourself involved in it, it's time to start deleting things from your life. And that's where it comes to boundaries. And that's uncomfortable because you have to say no to people and you have to let people down. And you might even like feel like a failure because you're like, oh, I couldn't do all this. I just have to let some things go. I saw this earlier this year. We run a wonderful program called Society of Business Witchery, and it's to help people get their like magical sort of businesses going. And I love it. And it's one of my favorite things to teach. But we had too many things on my calendar, and I had to pick something to go. And I had feelings of guilt and like I was a failure because I couldn't do everything. But you can't support anybody if you're not supporting yourself. So you have to go through and delete some stuff off. And when it comes to delegating, really, you got to get creative, because that's the other thing I hear is, I have no support. Who am I going to delegate to? Listen, friend, I have been there. Remember tears on the floor? That happened more than once. You got to get really clever. Who can you do exchanges with? Can you have your groceries delivered instead of spending the time to go get them? And that can actually be a huge money saver because you're not buying stuff you don't need. So that's how we actually save money on food, by not going grocery shopping. We spend so much money on food if we actually go grocery shopping. So having your groceries delivered, that'll cut like an hour out of your week right there, if you have your groceries delivered instead of going around and shopping. But that's like an act of delegating. If you have medications that you have to pick up, if there's a service where you can get them delivered, there's so many online pharmacies, whatever you can do to cut down on time. It's so interesting how the whole world has like gone to Zoom, over the last 18 months or so. But for me, I always loved stuff on Zoom because it takes out my drive time. And if I have to drive and go places for things, that is like the absolute worst for me. But so I've always loved things on Zoom because I don't have to drive anywhere. I think my mom is here. She's working on wrapping packages. Are you looking for my keys, Ma? She's as I say, delegating. My lovely mother wraps all of the gifts we send out to people, and she also helps take care of my kids. So she needs my car. Bye. Anyway, now I'm sidetracked, but it does it takes delegating it's a creative thing, right? And over years, all of this will compound for you. So my story 5 years ago was just enough money to eat and to live, and like we were okay, but nothing extravagant. And now 5 years later, there are 7 people who work here. My mom works for me; she helps take care of the kids, and it compounds over time. But it comes through focusing on caring for yourself, setting boundaries, and figuring out what is your one thing for right now. What is your one thing? If you're trying to do everything, you really are going to just find that it's exhausting and you're not making progress. You got to figure out one thing. All right. Now I see in the comments that Sarah's been sharing a lot. Yeah, Sarah and I both have, Sarah's son has been through a lot. My daughter is very intense and can be it's just the amount of emotional exhaustion that comes, that's like its whole own thing to do. Let's see here. And Pam says, if you eat before going grocery shopping, you'll spend less as well. Yeah. For us, we definitely just ordering groceries. Otherwise we get to the store and it's like, we get all this stuff and then no one eats it. And it's crazy. Yeah. Kathy says, love this. It's so hard to do working full time and caring for my dad. Yeah, I get that. So like, this is what I mean, that no one's alone. And I don't say this to make anybody feel bad, but I do work. I work 30 to 35 hours a week. My husband, he does not work, but he's not exactly Mr. Dad. He's not super supportive when it comes to like doing house stuff. So I don't usually enter him into the equation of what's going on. I have 2 kids who are very intense, one of which is autistic. She has autism and it can be very emotionally draining. And my elderly grandparents, I am currently spearheading trying to relocate them a third of the way across the US because they live alone, and I'm their what's the thing, all the things when you get the elder care position. And it's a lot. It is a lot. It's a lot. But the only way to survive it is to own your time and own all of the minutes. But if you know what it is you're focusing on, then you know what to do. And this sounds so practical. And the things that we teach here, when we teach even like candle magic or tarot, it really comes down to 2 things: intention and intuition. Intention and intuition, right? That's what it comes down to. The more intentional you can be with your life, the more intuitive you're going to be, and the better able you're going to be to make decisions for yourself and all those around you. And time intentionality, I'm telling you, is at the root of everything, at the root. So, Kathy says, hard to delegate a spouse, no children. Yeah, I still have my hands full. Yeah, it's very challenging to delegate a spouse. Believe me, I have been there. We have been in marriage counseling. Like, we have done things. And for me, ultimately, what just helped in our life was my mom. My mom works for me. She does not work for free. My mom is part of the staff here, and she also helps with the kids. And that was the thing, because I just needed support and I couldn't do that at first, right? Like, that took like 3 years of intentional focus and focusing on work. And when I focused on work, my house went by the wayside, but I was able to then clear up space to do the thing I needed to do to make enough money to then get to what I wanted to be in my life, right? But it was by focusing on one thing. That's what got me there, not trying to do everything, because you can't do everything. You just can't. So let's see here. Phyllis says, after doing the day in the journal, we arrange a few chores to different days, and it's helping with time management and keeping. Yeah. We have like so many systems in our house. Just this morning, my kids do this. So my 7-year-old is homeschooled, but she does like a virtual program now, because that was something that we were really struggling with. And so it's like videos, but we have to do them with her. And I was really struggling with managing that last year and being prepared for the lessons, because I own a business. And like, having to get the lessons prepared was also, I was like, what am I trying to do here? Like, who do I think I am? So this year we made a flip, and we got this different program, and it's like it's like a virtual school. But we do everything at home. And then she meets with the teacher in the class once a week. So my kids, they have these clothespins, and we write on the clothespins different things that have to happen in the morning, the middle of the day, and the evening, and they're color coded. So pink in the morning, green in the middle of the day, and black in the evening. And they can't they're not technically supposed to move on to like free time or whatever until the colors for the morning are done, because they're 4 and 7. So, colors work. So in there is her morning lessons. Like she's got to brush her hair, make her bed, brush her teeth. And then my 4-year-old, it's the same, like he has similar things, and they have to take them off. And then once those are done, they have free time before they move on to the next color. But if they haven't finished those pins, the clothespins, right, then they can't move on to the next thing. But all of this stuff that we do is it's very time intentional. Time intentionality is at the root of everything that we do in my life, and at the Sisters Enchanted too. But learning to be intentional is what's going to, again, make you more intuitive. And then that's going to help you to feel in your body like this isn't the right choice for me, or this is the right choice for me, or this is what I want. Being more intentional. If you're like, okay, I'd love to learn how to work with the moon and like manifest money, or manifest abundance and health, or like a more peaceful marriage, whatever it is that you want to do, learning to be intentional is at the root of it. And then learning to be time intentional is really going to help free you up to have the capacity to do the things you want to do. And all of that intentionality is what's going to help you be more intuitive, to figure out like, what's my soul's purpose? What should I be doing? Intention is going to lead to that intuition for you. Always. Intention is always going to lead to that intuition. It's about being more present and more intentional. And it's really, 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 really at the root. So I cannot, like, time, it's something. Sarah, who's here in the comments, she's our program director. Anybody who doesn't know Sarah Milne, who's commenting, she's the program director here at the Sisters Enchanted. And she, she can vouch. I am entirely obsessed with time. Like, I mean, obsessed is a very fair representation of what I am with time, because it is so, so, so important. And then just rethinking the way we look at time. When we say, I have no time, I have no one to help me, I promise you, I have been there. I'm not different. I am intentional. That's the thing that makes me different. And relearning to think about the way we think about time. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes can be an incredibly powerful small increment of time if you know what it is that you want to work on. If you know what your big, like, what's this week gonna look like for me? If 1 week from now, how will I feel like I won this week? How will I feel successful? How will I feel like my life felt so magical and enchanted and supported this week? What does that look like? And then when you know that, when you find these little bits of time, instead of saying, oh, I only have 3 minutes, I'm gonna do nothing, or I only have 15 minutes, I'm just gonna sit here. No, that's like a gift. 15 minutes is such a gift. It's such a gift. And but being intentional and knowing what you want to do with it before it presents itself, that's what's going to help you use it. So yeah, I'm really obsessed with time. Denise says, yes, had to delete a client who wanted me to be her on-call tarot reader. After I deleted her and really kept to my work schedule and not doing readings all the time, improved health and mindfulness. Yes, big time, big time. And Sarah says it's true and it's so good. Sarah's taught me a lot about time and it works. Yeah, I'm really, 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 really like obsessed with time. Having time management and understanding time intentionality, it's helped me get better sleep. I've been more productive. I make more money. I can be a better mom. My family is more at peace. Yeah, and time intentional is really, really important. Let's see here. Lynn says, my intentions are good and sound, wholehearted into it. And I write it down and reorganize how to get it done. And then my medical syndromes flare or my family will completely destroy my energy, whether it's a true need for them or if they just come to me with a bigger issue. Yeah. Yeah. I get that. I get it. That is very, very challenging. And then too, that's when we're in those situations, we have to rethink our time schedule too. But again, that comes back to that, what does a win look like for us? So back in April and May really, I had some like my blood work was insane, and my doctors were basically like, how are you standing? Like 3 different doctors were like, I don't understand how you're not just fainting right now. And I was like, I don't know, I'm really tired, but like if I don't work, there's no money. So I got to work. But when that happened, I had to let a lot of things go. I had to readdress my work expectations, my home expectations, my kid expectations. I had to reset everything around the schedule because I pretty much knew that from like 3 p.m. on, I was not going to be able to function for anybody or even myself. And I had to change my whole schedule. And it was really frustrating. It was super frustrating, but I did that. And then I took the time that I needed, and some things got set back that I did not enjoy seeing get set back. But I had to do that. But I think what made it doable was that I knew I was being it was on purpose. Like my intention at that moment wasn't to like make $1,000,000 or find more time. My intention was to feel rested. And so what did I have to do to feel rested? And I had to change that up. So I think just considering too, just what is going on around us and what's going to feel successful, and then choosing intentions to help us feel successful, right? And sometimes that's not exactly what we want it to be, but compounding over time, we get there. We get there. Let's see. Denise, I love working with the moon and intentions. Been a wonderful guide to work with. And Sisters Enchanted has taught me wonderful things indeed. Yeah, that's the other thing I do is I plan by the lunar cycle and my menstrual cycle along with it. So I know when I'm going to be like really tired or really crabby. And then I also know what's going on with the moon. And then I can look at, so that's like next level planning for me. I try not to plan like my husband and we try to do like a date night once a month, and I always look at the moon and I look at where I'm going to be energetically and try to plan for like the right time of like the right day and the right time in there to find like the right fit, so I'm not so cranky or I'm not really tired or I don't want to go or I want to cancel or something. And so working with the moon and then just the regular calendar really helps me. Yeah, Mimi's asking, you're on YouTube. Yeah, we're on Facebook also, Mimi. Facebook and the tube at this moment. So in a couple places right now, if you're like, why aren't I seeing those comments? That'd be why. Anyway, yeah, so you can then like take your intention and go back to the lunar cycles too and plan that way. So much, so much. So Tonya says, everything I do is time. There's so much. I'm always running late. Yeah, delete. You got to delete stuff. I'm telling you, you've got to delete stuff. You just have to. You just have to delete stuff. I'm telling you, the less I do, the more successful we are at the Sisters Enchanted, the cleaner my house is and the healthier I am, which I know sounds crazy, but it's true. It's because I'm so focused. I'm focused on one thing at a time, and that is it. Because you really can't do everything. So I'm just super, 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 super I even went through this last week because it was like a really challenging week last week for my family. And I went through and like some of the things my kids were enrolled in. And I just was like, we got to pull you out of half of this stuff because we just can't do it. It's too much. It's too much. And we're all suffering. And I had to like cut it back, just like my favorite exercise class. I had to cut that out, and I found something else that would work in 2 different 15-minute spurts instead of the one I liked because I just couldn't do it. But in the end, I feel more cared for, right, than I did doing the thing that I really liked because now I have time and it's not stressful. So anyway, time. Rethink your relationship with time. Small blips of time are very, very powerful. And if you can focus on one thing, be super intentional, that's going to help you a lot. All right, y'all. Register. If you did not register, the link for the guide, it's above or underneath or around wherever you're watching this. We'll email it right to you. And we are doing giveaways. So you want to participate and share on Instagram, and be sure to tag us so we can find it. Also, you can share in our Expedition to Soul Facebook group. This last week, we picked 2 prize winners, people who were just participating. We just picked 2 random people. We're going to pick more this week and then some more next week. So make sure to register and participate and share what you're doing so we can send you some fun stuff in the mail. And I think that is it. We got a new podcast episode coming out this week. So keep your eyes out for that. I think it'll come out on Wednesday. You can check the blog and all that good stuff. Always fun things happening here at the Sisters Enchanted. But I guess that's it. All right. Until next time, I hope that y'all have an enchanted rest of your day ahead. Go make some magic and start with your time. All right. Bye.